Hello, I'm Susan Fecho, professor in the visual arts area. Today I'm going to talk about visual artists react to the wounds of war. I'm needing you to consider how do artists respond with an expression to the abstract idea of conflict. How can the arts provide ways to question, challenge, explore, and discuss topics that affect us personally and universally? Can the arts draw attention to the plight of ordinary people with a demand for a call for action? Visual protest against the violence of war. These two plates were produced by Spanish artist Goya, The Disasters of War. There were 82 plates in total that document the horrors of the Peninsula War in 1808 to 14, between Spanish and France under Napoleon. They were not published until 1863, 3 decades after Goya's death. These etchings explore such themes as carnage, conflict, famine, heroism, retribution. Left, plate number 9, an elderly woman wields a knife in defense of a woman who is being assaulted by a soldier. On the right, plate number 60, on a hillside, 3 women lay dead and a lonely figure weeps in mournful grief. German-born Jewish artist Felix Nussbaum triumph over death of 1944, reminiscent of the medieval Dance of Death. He was deported in 1914 to a crowded detention camp. His macabre-like drawings of Jews living in terror and squalor became the basis for later paintings. Though forced to live in hiding for years, he remained extremely prolific. Shortly before his arrest and deportation to Auschwitz, this painting depicts a scene where skeletons play music, dance around a pile of debris made of various insignias from the world of art and science. It expresses frustration, anger, and despair. Surrealist artists sought ways to depict victory of the imagination over reality. Martinez's imagery of murder, violence, putrefaction give clear reference to the massive deaths of World War I. Martinez's 54 postcards were created between 1914 and 1916. Other artists choose to explore the absence of a loved one much more personally. Kathy Colwitz's mothers and parents depict the devastation experienced by families and communities. Among the most celebrated of these works are from Colwitz's War portfolio, published in 1923. Colwitz drew herself in the center, with her eyes closed and her arms wrapped protectively around her 2 sons. Colwitz lost her oldest son, Peter. He died while serving in Flanders in October 1914. Rather than portray her son, she displays the grief she and her husband felt in his absence. Man's inhumanity to man. German expressionist Otto Dix is known to portray the raw imagery of the horrors of war. During the war, Dix kept a sketchbook and a diary in which he chronicled his experience. They would provide material for the majority of the 50 prints simply called The War. Otto Dix seems to cry out through his imagery, "This is what really happened. I was there." As an eyewitness to some of the most horrific events of the First World War, he's putting them into record. Dali's painting, The Face of War, shows grieving face floating on a desert. The face is filled with mystery and terror, and its spirit worn out due to war. The eye socket in the mouth shows more faces of war in an infinite. The drama and the view of war served as inspiration to Dali's work. This work was painted between the end of the Spanish Civil War and the beginning of World War II. This is called the Ten Face movie. It's about a young woman, American, that worked in Britain, pulling together new faces out of 10 for a group of soldiers that had lost their faces in World War I. She made plaster cast, intimately worked with them to refashion a mask. We're wearing masks. We're wearing masks for another reason. These people were trying to gain back their confidence, their ability to be out in public. As they were out in the public itself, people would just faint, swoon when they were out without a mask, their faces mutilated in World War I. She managed to put together about 90 before the funding was over. They were held on their faces, across their earlobes, or onto glasses. They spent endless hours hammering and fitting this tin onto their face to match the contours that should have been there, and endless hours trying to match the paint color to the color of their skin, somewhere between a cloudy day and a sunny day, so that when they were outside, it matched perfectly. I need you to consider you're working with thematic exchanges and dialogue, and I need you to think about the exchanges to an individual's product of reaction. Thank you.